Hi everyone, welcome to week one. I just thought I'd take some time just to take you through the content and readings and the assessment activities for this week, just to make sure that we're all on the right track and that you're feeling comfortable and oriented and ready to get going. So I've opened up the week one, and the content is pretty much a focus on what is literacy. So it's going to take you through a whole range of ideas and suggestions about where literacy fits within society and also where it fits within the Australian curriculum. So you'll have a chance to have a look at literacy within the curriculum itself. So that means literacy as a capability, and also have a look at some of the videos. I have a podcast here which is probably worth a little listen, and that will take you through some of the aspects of the construction of the week. So please take some time to look through that. And then we move into two really quite good videos about 21st century literacy. I'm not going to read this to you, you can do that. But it's just to make sure that you know what's there. So there's a video here, what is 21st century education, and then over to Grant Lichtman, who talks about what 60 schools can tell us about the teaching of 21st century skills. As a side note, there was also a really good Four Corners interview this week that you probably have a look at on iView, and that also talked about the need for our school system to make sure that we're supporting students with 21st century learning, and that was looking more at STEM and digital coding, but all these things are forms of literacy, and you'll find that out as we go through the weeks. But the next focus of the week is formal and informal literacy, and you'll notice also I've made a couple of highlights to the content this week. This is probably one of the only weeks that we'll actually look at this as a concept, yet it is one of the quite clear learning objectives of the unit and also for assessment one. So formal and informal literacy is something that you really need to make sure that you've got a good concept of, and then also how it connects to the scenario in the assessment activity with Sean and his teaching team. So once you've read through the assessment, you'll have a bit more of an idea of what I'm talking about. But these are the sorts of things that we're looking for. So your understanding of what formal literacy is, what informal literacy is, and how that supports teaching and learning within the classroom. Just a bit of a look at the theoretical frameworks that have formed the unit, and you'll be familiar with some of these already. So inquiry learning, experiential learning, the scaffolding work of Vygotsky, and then the applied approaches of Bloom and Gardner. And then here are the links to the literacy in the Australian curriculum. So please take some time to look at those. Just scrolling down. It's the first time I've used Screen-O-Matic, so it's quite exciting. It's a really good system. So yeah, here are the links to the Australian curriculum. So if you could just take some time just to click on those hyperlinked areas there, and that's going to take you through to the very strong focus areas that this unit's based upon. And then the essential readings, once again, the revision of Bloom's, and then a little bit more on the formal and non-formal learning and teaching that happens within our classrooms. Okay, I'm going to take you over to the activities. So the first activity, what we're going to get you to do, and this is like a pre and post assessment that you'll probably also do in the classroom and may have seen already during your teaching placements. And it's important for you to even have a bit of an idea of where you're at and where we're heading to. So 30 minutes, firstly, see if you can define what you believe literacy is. What does literacy in the 21st century look like, and what kind of skills do you think students need? Post that, then watch this video here that goes for about 8 minutes with some, I know it's American, but it's some teachers talking about their concepts and definitions of literacy, and you'll see how they change as the prompts become more specific. And then review the post and then respond to whether your definition has changed. And what do you think critical literacy might look like? And do you think critical literacy is an important literacy skill? And there's a couple of alternatives there as well if you wanted to present it in a different way. So that's the first activity for this week. And then the second one is formal and informal literacy, and it's called a treasure hunt. So here we have a Anzac biscuit tin, and the purpose of the activity is for you to look at the theoretical definitions and then make sure that you understand those. So through this activity, you'll also be able to develop your ideas and strategies to support literacy in teaching practice. And it's also linked to the assessment tasks, as I've said before. So just make sure that you've got a really strong idea of how these fit. See if you can see if you can locate a historical artifact that you could use in the classroom. Post the image, review what others have suggested, and then respond to the post. And then we've got some information about assessment 1A, and then your list of tasks to be completed this week. So in context, that's pretty much the first week. There is quite a bit of information there for you to work through. Please ask any questions that you may have. Please post on the discussion board. I can't, like I've said in the earlier video that I posted, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to make sure that you're contributing and collaborating and getting the most out of this experience. I know that there's that temptation just to stick to the assessments, but this is here to support you. So please make sure that you use that information and use each other and of course me. So have a great week. I will be in close contact with you this week, so you're not alone, and I know that you're probably quite friendly with each other, so touch base, introduce yourself, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this week. It's exciting. So all right, take care, talk to you soon.